The required distance from an electrical panel to a telecommunications rack is an important safety consideration. Specifically, in front of the electrical panel, at least 36 inches of clearance is required. There is no specified distance requirement for the sides of the electrical panel. The reasons for the distance requirement are threefold. Firstly, it ensures proper ventilation and prevents overheating of the electrical equipment. Secondly, it reduces electromagnetic interference, also known as EMI, between the electrical panel and the telecommunications equipment. Thirdly, it prevents physical contact between electrical wires and telecommunications cables, which could cause damage or shock hazards. There are additional considerations to keep in mind. Firstly, some jurisdictions may have specific regulations that supersede the general recommendations. Secondly, in areas prone to seismic activity, additional measures may be necessary to prevent damage from falling equipment. Thirdly, the specific distance required may vary depending on the size and type of electrical panel. It is always advisable to consult with a qualified electrician or telecommunications professional for specific guidance based on the actual installation. The 36-inch clearance in front of the electrical panel is intended to provide enough space for electricians or other qualified personnel to safely access and work on the electrical panel without obstruction. This clearance allows for tasks such as inspecting, maintaining, repairing, or replacing components within the panel. The absence of a specified distance for the sides of the electrical panel does not mean that these areas can be completely ignored. It simply indicates that the primary concern is ensuring sufficient working space in front of the panel. However, it is still good practice to maintain a reasonable amount of clearance on the sides to facilitate access for maintenance and prevent any potential hazards. The ventilation aspect is critical because electrical panels generate heat during operation. Proper ventilation helps dissipate this heat and prevent the panel from overheating. Overheating can lead to reduced efficiency, premature component failure, and even fire hazards. The 36-inch clearance helps to promote airflow around the panel, aiding in heat dissipation. The electromagnetic interference can disrupt the operation of sensitive telecommunications equipment. Electrical panels and the wiring within them can generate electromagnetic fields that interfere with the signals carried by telecommunications cables. Maintaining a distance between the panel and the telecommunications rack reduces the strength of these electromagnetic fields, minimizing the potential for interference. Physical contact between electrical wires and telecommunications cables can create a significant safety risk. If the insulation on electrical wires is damaged, contact with telecommunications cables can energize them, creating a shock hazard for anyone who comes into contact with the cables or the equipment connected to them. Additionally, physical contact can damage both the electrical wires and the telecommunications cables, leading to equipment malfunction or failure. Local jurisdictions may have their own specific regulations regarding the placement of telecommunications racks relative to electrical panels. These regulations may be more stringent than the general recommendations, so it is important to check with the local authorities to ensure compliance. In areas with seismic activity, there is a risk of equipment falling during an earthquake. Telecommunications racks and electrical panels should be securely mounted to prevent them from falling and causing damage or injury. Additional measures such as bracing or anchoring may be necessary to improve stability. The size and type of electrical panel can also influence the required distance. Larger panels with higher power ratings may generate more heat and electromagnetic interference, requiring a greater distance to ensure safety and prevent interference. Consulting with a qualified electrician or telecommunications professional is essential to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and regulations and that the telecommunications equipment is protected from electrical hazards and interference. They can assess the specific conditions of the installation and provide tailored recommendations. When planning the layout of a telecommunications room or data center, it is crucial to consider the placement of electrical panels and telecommunications racks early in the design process. This will help to avoid potential problems later on and ensure that the installation is safe, efficient, and compliant with all applicable regulations. Remember that the 36-inch clearance is a minimum requirement. In some cases, it may be necessary to provide even more clearance to ensure adequate ventilation, prevent interference, or facilitate maintenance. It is always better to err on the side of caution and provide as much clearance as possible. In addition to the distance requirements, it is also important to consider the physical environment around the electrical panel and telecommunications rack. Keep the area clean and free of clutter to prevent fire hazards and ensure easy access for maintenance. Avoid storing flammable materials near the electrical panel. Ensure that the telecommunications rack is properly grounded to prevent electrical shock hazards. Regularly inspect the electrical panel and telecommunications rack for any signs of damage or wear and tear. Repair or replace any damaged components immediately. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical and telecommunications systems. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides guidelines for electrical installations, including requirements for working clearances around electrical equipment. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to refer to the latest edition to ensure compliance. Although the answer specifies that the NEC version is from 2014, checking the latest version is still important. The specific NEC articles that address working clearances for electrical equipment can provide further details and clarification on the requirements. When working with electrical equipment, always follow proper safety procedures. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. To energize the electrical panel before performing any maintenance or repairs. If you are not qualified to work on electrical equipment, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Electrical safety is paramount. Ignoring safety guidelines can have serious consequences, including electrical shock, burns, and even death. Take the time to learn about electrical safety and follow proper procedures to protect yourself and others. Proper planning and installation of electrical and telecommunications systems are essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of these systems. By following the guidelines and recommendations outlined in this discussion, you can help to create a safe and efficient environment for your electrical and telecommunications equipment. Remember to consult with qualified professionals for specific guidance based on your individual circumstances. Ensuring proper ventilation around electrical panels is not just about meeting code requirements, it's about preventing long-term damage and ensuring the longevity of the equipment. Heat is a major enemy of electronic components, and consistent overheating can drastically shorten their lifespan. By allowing adequate airflow, you are helping to maintain a cooler operating temperature, which translates to fewer breakdowns and low maintenance costs over time. The reduction of electromagnetic interference, or EMI, is another critical benefit of maintaining proper distance. EMI can not only disrupt telecommunications equipment but also introduce errors and inconsistencies in data transmission. In sensitive environments like data centers or research labs, minimizing EMI is crucial for maintaining data integrity and preventing costly errors. Preventing physical contact between electrical wires and telecommunications cables is a fundamental safety measure. Even seemingly minor damage to cable insulation can create a pathway for electrical current, posing a significant shock hazard. By maintaining adequate separation, you're reducing the risk of accidental contact and ensuring a safer working environment for anyone who may come into contact with the equipment. Local jurisdictions often have specific amendments to the NEC or other electrical codes that may impose stricter requirements. It's essential to be aware of these local regulations and ensure that your installation complies with all applicable codes. Failure to comply can result in fines, penalties, or even the shutdown of your facility. In areas prone to seismic activity, it's not enough to simply mount equipment securely. You also need to consider the potential for movement and stress on connections during an earthquake. Using flexible conduit and cable management systems can help to absorb some of the movement and prevent damage to wiring and equipment. The size and type of electrical panel can significantly impact the amount of heat and EMI it generates. Larger panels with higher current ratings will typically produce more heat and EMI, requiring greater separation distances. Similarly, Certain types of equipment, such as variable frequency drives, or VFDs, can be particularly noisy and may require additional shielding or filtering to mitigate EMI. Consulting with a qualified electrician or telecommunications professional is always the best way to ensure that your installation meets all applicable codes and regulations and that your equipment is properly protected. These professionals have the knowledge and experience to assess your specific needs and provide tailored recommendations that address your unique situation. They can also help you identify potential hazards and implement appropriate safety measures. When planning your telecommunications room or data center, consider the layout of equipment and the potential for future expansion. Leave adequate space for future upgrades and modifications, and ensure that there is sufficient access for maintenance and repairs. A well-planned layout can save you time and money in the long run and help to prevent problems down the road. Remember that safety is always the top priority when working with electrical equipment. Never take shortcuts or compromise on safety to save time or money. Always follow proper procedures and use appropriate personal protective equipment. If you're not comfortable working with electrical equipment, hire a qualified professional to do the work for you. Electrical safety is not something to take lightly. Even a small mistake can have serious consequences. Take the time to learn about electrical safety and follow proper procedures to protect yourself and others. In addition to the physical separation of electrical panels and telecommunications racks, it's also important to consider the grounding and bonding of equipment. Proper grounding and bonding can help to minimize the risk of electrical shock and reduce EMI. Ensure that all equipment is properly grounded and bonded according to applicable codes and regulations. Regularly inspect grounding and bonding connections to ensure that they are tight and free of corrosion. A loose or corroded grounding connection can compromise the safety and performance of your electrical and telecommunications systems. Effective cable management is also crucial for maintaining a safe and organized telecommunications room or data center. Use cable trays, raceways, and other cable management systems to keep cables organized and out of the way. Properly labeled cables can make it easier to troubleshoot problems and perform maintenance. Avoid running cables across walkways or in areas where they could be damaged or become a tripping hazard. Consider the environmental conditions in your telecommunications room or data center. Maintain a stable temperature and humidity level to prevent damage to equipment. Install adequate ventilation and cooling systems to prevent overheating. Control dust and other contaminants to prevent equipment malfunction. Regular cleaning and maintenance can help to extend the lifespan of your equipment and prevent costly repairs. When making any changes or modifications to your electrical or telecommunications systems, always consult with qualified professionals to ensure that the work is done safely and in accordance with applicable codes and regulations. Never attempt to make changes yourself unless you are properly trained and qualified to do so. The importance of working with qualified professionals cannot be overstated. Electricians and telecommunications technicians undergo extensive training and certification to ensure that they have the knowledge and skills necessary to perform their job safely and effectively. They are also familiar with applicable codes and regulations and can help you ensure that your installation meets all requirements. Don't hesitate to ask for references and check the credentials of any professionals you hire. A little bit of due diligence can save you a lot of trouble in the long run. Investing in quality equipment and materials is also essential for ensuring the reliability and longevity of your electrical and telecommunications systems. Cheap or poorly made equipment can fail prematurely, leading to costly repairs and downtime. Choose reputable brands and suppliers that insist on using high-quality materials. Remember that your electrical and telecommunications systems are critical infrastructure for your business or organization. Investing in these systems is an investment in your future success. By following the guidelines and recommendations outlined in this discussion, you can help to ensure that your electrical and telecommunications systems are safe, reliable, and efficient.